I'm Miguel, your opponent.
Come on, if you're racist and you know it, clap your hands.
That's racist! That's racist!
That's gotta be racist.
If you're one of them anime onlys who wants a little refresher before JJK Season 3, aka Yuta Kaisen, or if you're one of them manga readers that only look at the pictures because you didn't put enough skill points in reading comprehension and want a little reminder of what you're getting yourself into, then you've come to the right place because this is my brief recap of Jujutsu Kaisen Zero's anime movie. Make sure to like the video if you want me to cover Season 1 and 2, remember to subscribe, and let's just get on with it. Jujutsu Kaisen Zero was the first bit of JJK ever written, but the movie came out after Season 1, and it's set 1 year before Season 1, nearly 10 years after the events of Gojo's past arc in Season 2. Are you following so far? Lovely. I won't bother breaking down the basics of Jujutsu and Cursed Energy for this one because let's be real, Gege did not have a clue what he was yapping about when he wrote this. Take Gojo for example, alright? In JJK Zero, this lanky-ass dude is drawing satanic symbols around his students and then launching them across the country at Mark 67. Not to mention, Gojo said he was in a hurry, but instead of whipping out a domain or a hollow purple, this man just put generational hands on the only black sorcerer in the whole series, which there were only two viable explanations for. One, Gege hadn't invented domains yet. 2, Gojo is racist! The point is, if you notice things that seem a bit inconsistent with the rest of JJK, it's because they are. But let's just settle with Gojo is racist and move on to breaking down this peak fiction movie. Firstly, allow me to introduce you to Yuta Okkotsu, the main character of this twisted love story. As a kid, Yuta met a problematic girl named Rika, and their friendship bloomed into a very wholesome potential love story. Rika even gave Yuta a ring, promising marriage when they grew up, but I can't lie, Yuta should have run for the hills, because Rika is low-key JJK's Dexter Morgan, like she deadass killed her own parents. At least, that's very strongly implied by Gege. Turns out though, all that time in hospital meant Rika never learned how to stop, look and listen when crossing the road, so she got no-diff by a Toyota Prius. Now, it was originally believed that Rika cursed Yuta with her love upon her death, leading to her becoming a special grade freakazoid and giving this poor kid generational trauma. But it's not quite that simple. Anyway, the movie officially begins with our main character Yuta Okkotsu getting his bitch bullied by this school's resident goon squad, but they get turned into strawberry jam by Rika pretty quickly and stuffed into a locker. Lol, those kids dead as for- wait, they survived? Huh? What? How? Nah, Shoko Haiki on Fraud Watch, because what do you mean she can just de-jellify 3 entire humans but she can't even heal Inamaki's arm? Jujutsu High sends a couple grade 2 sorcerers and a grade 1 sorcerer to deal with the situation off screen, and we later learn that Rika actually jellifies them as well, so the Jujutsu Tories ordered an official notice of execution for Yuta Okkotsu. Next thing we know, Yuta is sitting inside of Gojo's freaky Tech Knight cave telling Yuta that he can live as long as he learns to harness and eventually break the curse that Rika has supposedly put on him. Yuta agrees after Gojo tells him he'll be very lonely otherwise, which is something Gojo is all too familiar with. The Jujutsu Tories weren't best pleased with this idea, but Gojo put them in their place, and like, who are they to try and stop the strongest sorcerer of the modern age from doing what he wants? After one of the most glorious openings in all of JJK, it's finally time for Yuta to meet his fellow first-year classmates. First impressions are key, but clearly no one has ever taught Yuta that because he forgot to shower and his stink caused all 3 of the first years to try and eliminate him on the spot. Turns out though, just like the anti-Yuta agenda, they mistook the word aura for odor, which Rika didn't take too kindly to, so she emerges from the blackboard to scare the kids off. I don't know why Maki and Panda were acting like they were gonna do anything here, like just sit down bruh. Toge's cool though, so I'll leave him be. After being debriefed on how Jujutsu High works, Gojo then decides to send the brand new student who just discovered Jujutsu this morning, and the lowest ranked student in the entire school, on one of his own missions because Gojo likes to take the practical approach when it comes to teaching. I personally think this is just because Megami's rubbed off on him a bit and he's low-key scared of grade 3 curses, but whatever. Gojo takes Yuta and Maki to a school where some kids have supposedly gone missing, thanks to one of the many curse spirits that have appeared there in the last few days, and yes, all this time those kids are literally being slowly digested inside a giant curse's stomach. But instead of prioritizing their lives, Gojo decided that giving them a taste of generational trauma is a price worth paying if it means that he can teach his students a bit more. Honestly, who let this man become a teacher? Like, that makes no sense. Just go in there and save them yourself, bro. This is not the time. After Gojo drops a veil and runs away to the safety of his car, Maki does what her cousin could never even dream of doing and swats away some pesky grade 4 curses like flies. Maki enters the school with a terrified Yuta cowering behind her, and he's such a wimp that Maki actually asks to see his student card so she can basically just point and laugh at him for being a grade 4, even though she's a grade 4. To Maki's complete shock though, he is not a grade 4 sorcerer, but rather a special grade, the highest grade possible in the Jujutsu world and the same classification of sorcerer as the Satoru Gojo. Before she can process this information though, the giant curse launches them through the roof of the school and literally swallows them both whole. This duo finds the children half dead in the cursed spirit's stomach, but they somehow are still in better condition than Maki, who got sliced and poisoned on her way in. Her leg quickly becomes a trypophobe's worst nightmare and she passes out, but not before telling Yuta to lock in, or he won't ever achieve his dream of being surrounded by people who value him, because they'll all be dead. Yuta takes Maki's words to heart and places Rika's promise ring on his finger, which brings forth the Queen of Curses in all of her glory to completely demolish this Megami level curse. Alright, I should probably chill on the Megami shots, my bad. Also, can we please talk about how damn freaky Rika is? Like, why is she acting up like that? Humans that become curses after death are often better at retaining their human personalities, so this isn't even necessarily the cursed spirit talking. This could deadass just be how unhinged that girl was. Rika splatters the curse all over Gojo's veil, and then Gojo drops a little bar about how scary she is. Actually, Gojo does just blatantly lie a lot in JJK0 for no real reason at all. He tells the higher-ups that he would risk his life to stop Rika if she went out of control, and he also says Rika is nearly impossible to exorcise. Now, sure, I do actually believe that Rika's insane amount of cursed energy makes her practically unkillable, and maybe Gojo actually couldn't do it, but would he be risking his life? Fortunately, Maki and the kids make a full recovery in hospital, but Yuta ain't feeling too good about what just went down. He has his own little theory that instead of Rika cursing him, he may have been the one who cursed Rika. Spoiler alert, he is right. Gojo actually agrees with this possibility at the time, and yet again speaks from his own experiences by saying love is the most twisted curse of all. I mean, who knew there was more to Gojo than just hype moments and aura? Well, this idea only motivates Yuta to unravel the curse and free Rika's soul even faster, so he locks in and vows to train even harder, which marks the end of Act 1. Back at Jujutsu High, Gojo takes Yuta to the armory where he finally acquires his iconic weapon of choice, a katana. Over the next few months, he'll train to slowly imbue Rika's curse, which is basically just cursed energy, into the katana, but first he needs to learn how to actually fight with one. Fortunately, Maki Zenin is the best when it comes to fighting with cursed tools, so she gracefully offers to beat his scrawny ass until he can actually fend for himself. And to be honest, I don't think Yuta even starts off that bad. I mean, he manages to set up a nice little play where he can catch Maki off guard in the air. It's just unlucky that this was bait from Maki, who hit the Guna splits in 4K because Mappa animators are a bit weird like that, and then folds Yuta. Panda's only purpose in this group dynamic is apparently to be the shipping daughter, because he comes to the revelation that Yuta and Maki probably have a little thing for each other. After a quick boob-related interview that I'm not going to dwell on for too long, lest the Diddy Allons-Y allegations start piling up, Yuta and Maki's cute romance story seems officially set in stone. Before Maki's clueless can figure out what Panda was getting at though, Gojo pulls Toge Inamaki aside to let him know that he's going on a solo mission, and he's bringing Yuta along as an observer. You see, Inamaki's curse technique is cursed speech, which allows him to weaponize the power of words. If he tells something weaker than him to stop moving or to, explode, then that's exactly what they do. But to balance such a broken ability, there is a drawback. If Inamaki says a word that is too strong to a strong opponent, then it will also damage him. In the worst case scenario, the word could backfire and Toge would become Togon. Anyway, after grabbing some throat spray, Inamaki and Yuta enter an alleyway and Ijichi closes off a veil behind them. Inamaki dispatches of the massive shoal of grade 4 fishies with minimal difficulty, but for some reason, the veil doesn't lift. At that moment, the legendary semi-grade 1 Megami destroying... At that moment, the so-called Zumba curse is sent to face them, and despite his best efforts, all Inamaki can really do is twist a single arm off, which messes up his own hand in the process. Yuta grabs Inamaki out of the cursed spirit's laser beam of death, and the pair of them run away for a quick mental reset, in which Inamaki tries to protect Yuta by having him stay where it's safe, but Yuta decides to lock in once again when he realizes that Inamaki is actually a pretty chill dude. Since Gojo said he's not allowed to summon Rika again no matter what, Yuta unleashes his aura farming technique from the Heian era and starts moving like Usopp. Or a farm, do nothing, let your homie handle it. Handle it is a bit of an understatement though, because Toge dives in there, grabs the throat spray mid-air, then hits the same move Sukuna used to duck Maharaga's breaststroke of death to avoid the laser beam, and crush the whole curse with a single word. And like, damn, JJK throat spray must be built different, because I don't know about you, but whenever I get a sore throat, the only thing spray does is taste so much like ass that it distracts me from the pain. I need to get me some of this stuff. Anyway, the veil lifts and the students return to safety, completely unaware of their teacher's crazy ex-boyfriend watching from afar. Suguru Geto is the one who lowered the second veil and released the Zumba curse using his curse spirit manipulation technique. He seems to have taken an interest in Yuta Okkotsu, which we realize after Geto picks up the student ID card that Yuta accidentally dropped while fighting the curse. After making it back from their little adventure, Inamaki goes out into his little garden for a mental reset and a little conversation with his flower buddies. Panda then explains to Yuta that he's actually very similar to Inamaki in that he also grew up accidentally hurting those around him because of his technique, which is why he now speaks exclusively in rice bowl ingredients and why he takes comfort in his little garden because, you know, he can't hurt flowers with his words. Honestly, I really like this moment, and it makes me wish we got to see more of Yuta and Inamaki being friends in the series. Underrated character. Act 2 then ends with Gojo taking a trip to the alley where Yuta and Inamaki just had their battle, and uses his 6 eyes to confirm that his crazy ex-boyfriend was in fact the one who trapped them in there. Once he gets back to Jujutsu High, he explains to Ijichi that the one behind this mess is the special grade sorcerer/curse user, Suguru Geto. To be honest though, the only special grade skill this bum's got is Rage Bait, of which he is an absolute master. This dude deadass told a woman to her face that he just disagreed with her name and decided it was something else purely because he could. Just like his boyfriend, he's also hella racist because he hates those muggles that can't use Jujutsu. He hates them so much, in fact, that he wants them all dead so that curse spirits no longer exist.
How the fuck am I racist and the only dicks I suck are black?
Which is ironic because he runs a giant cult-like religious organization of Jujutsu-less monkeys who literally help him collect curse spirits and money. Yeah, those people are dumb enough to make some hefty donations, but as soon as those donations stop flowing, Geto uses his sucky technique from the Heian era to literally suck you to death. Nah, like deadass, that's not even a joke.
Suck.
Geto and his dysfunctional family then pull up to Jujutsu High and he gets to work trying to convince Yuta to join him. Gojo and the rest of Jujutsu High then pull up and oh my god, is that my goat, the shiesty sorcerer? Let's go! Anyway, and this leaves Yuta looking like a kid stuck in the middle of his parents' messy divorce, which I'm not gonna lie isn't even that far from the truth. Since Yuta isn't on board with Geto's freaky antics, he falls back on plan B and declares war on Jujutsu High, claiming that he will release thousands upon thousands of cursed spirits on both Kyoto and Tokyo on December 24th. And with that, he flies off on his giant pelican to get his adopted daughter's crepes with his heart-nippled friend and African colleague. Gojo then has a PTSD flashback to his first breakup with Geto outside of KFC, where Geto pops the question to him.
Or are you Satoru Gojo cause you're the strongest?
Gojo then informs Jujutsu High that he doesn't think Geto would start a war he couldn't win, so either he thinks he can beat Gojo or he has something else up his sleeve. Yeah, I can't lie, the way this whole story makes it seem like Geto could ever have a chance of beating Gojo, even with Rika, is actually just hilarious. But again, this was before Gege had a clue what he was doing. Just before the war kicks off, Maki happened to stumble across Yuta sitting alone in a classroom, and the two of them really hit it off talking about her dream of, you know, eradicating her entire family from the face of the earth. Turns out Geto was not bluffing when he threatened to send an army of curse spirits and curse users to Kyoto and Tokyo, but after Ijichi gives Gojo some important information on Yuta's heritage, Gojo clocks that Geto is not actually on the battlefield and realizes he's been tricked into leaving Yuta unattended, meaning Geto can just waltz on right in there and absorb Rika, which would be his end goal here. But don't lie, Gojo, we know you're actually just staying here for Miguel, cause you're racist! Again, let's ignore the part where Gojo somehow teleports Inamaki and Panda back to the school, because he literally never uses that ability ever again in the whole series. And let's also ignore the fact Gojo low-key snaked his students by just hoping Geto wouldn't want to actually kill them. I mean, why did Gojo stay behind instead of going there himself? Was it because he thought his students could handle Geto? Was it because he wanted Yuta to grow and learn from the experience of fighting Geto? Was it because Miguel genuinely was a stronger and greater threat than Geto himself? Well, maybe, to be honest, but a better answer is that he's racist! Anyway, Gojo aura farms on Miguel, and then we cut to Inamaki and Panda breaking through the school's walls to take the shortest route to Geto, who then somehow manages to go mid to high diff with bloody Panda of all people. The fact Geto even let Panda land a serious hit on him still upsets me to this day, to be honest. Of course, my glorious king Inamaki was on smoke though, and he probably gave Geto permanent brain damage from that plummet. I mean, he had this dude's head looking like that one gif. Good thing he replaces his brain later. It doesn't matter though, because Geto emerged from that crater thinking he's from Full Metal Alchemist or something, and then off-screens Panda, Inamaki, and Maki, leaving them half dead for Yuta to find, which marks the end of Act 3. Now Yuta pulls up to the fight and immediately starts tweaking. He summons Rika and she grabs Yuta's injured classmates and stores them safely in her weird pocket dimension, before her and Yuta stand on business by decimating an army of weird green babies with just aura and a katana. Once they are a fair distance away, Geto actually lets Yuta take the time to heal his friends, because healing people with reverse curse technique takes a lot of cursed energy. That was a mistake on his part though, because Yuta's got lots of cursed energy to spare, and so he wastes absolutely no time surrounding Maki, Inamaki, and Panda in a cocoon of RCT. Reverse curse technique is when you multiply cursed energy, aka negative energy, against itself to create positive energy, which can be used to heal injuries. Now it takes a genius to be able to learn even the most basic types of RCT, and it takes a super genius like Gojo to be able to heal full limbs with it. But even Gojo is not able of outputting it to heal other people, with the exception of Shoko, who is a special case. Yuta Okkotsu and Ryomen effing Sukuna are the only other sorcerers we ever see who are capable of healing other people. Gojo was raised learning Jujutsu and couldn't even get the basics of RCT down until he was on the brink of death at 17 years old. Yet here Yuta is at 16 with only a couple months of experience and he's already mastered healing others. This right here is what you call a generational genius. Once his friends are healed up and Rika finished having a jealousy-driven temper tantrum over Maki, Yuta returns to the battle and bro just starts moving like Itachi posted up on that pylon. Bro's got a hella aura, I'm not gonna lie. He then reveals his busted copy curse technique and summons a megaphone imbued with Inamaki's curse speech that he uses to just straight up command Geto's army of curses to die on the spot. Before the fight can continue though, we cut back to Jujutsu Sorcerers versus Geto's Freakazoid army, where Ijichi confronts Geto's deranged daughters and oh my god, yes, is that my goat the Shiesty Sorcerer and Kusakabe, let's go! Oh, and Diddy's there too, I guess. Obviously Mappa did an amazing job extending the JJK Zero manga to make it into a great movie, and there are loads of anime-only scenes, like Yuta hitting a black flash later on. But will somebody please tell me why Mappa saw the only black sorcerer in the entirety of JJK and decided they really needed to make a completely anime-only scene of Satoru Gojo putting generational hands on this man? Gojo must have watched Ip Man before this fight because he Wing Chunned Miguel's ass so hard he literally switches sides at the end of the fight. But honestly, respect to Miguel for pulling up on the strongest sorcerer of the modern age and committing to his job of stalling him out for over 20 minutes. Because I'm not gonna lie, Miguel ended up being so strong and durable in that fight that this low-key became personal for Gojo. Like, Gojo's not used to opponents surviving even one punch from him, but Miguel was there eating that crap for 20 minutes straight and walked away with only bumps and bruises. He deadass had Gojo tilted as hell that he couldn't lay this man out in one hit. I mean, no wonder he didn't use any big moves. Gojo probably wanted to prove that he wasn't washed by finishing it with his own hands. This beatdown kinda ended up being more disrespectful towards Gojo than it was to the guy who actually got beaten down. Not to mention the fact that this fight solidified Gojo as a certified racist. Meanwhile, this grown-ass special grade man Suguru Geto is somehow going extreme diff with a kid who learned Jujutsu like 3 months ago. I mean, make it make sense. I know Toji messed up his confidence, but damn, I did not realize it was that bad. Yuta took a whole ass playful cloud hit to the face, but got back up and dead-ass speed blitzed this dude, which had Geto kinda shook because he realized Yuta was getting even stronger in this fight. When Yuta broke his katana, Geto tried to give him one of those mid-fight anime lectures, but Yuta forgot he was even in an anime, so he just cut Geto off with a clean black flash punch to the face in true JJK MC fashion. What most people don't even notice about this is that Geto took that much damage even when he blocked the punch at the last second with a cursed spirit. We then cut away again to Kyoto's battlefield, where the Kyoto school collectively go high diff with grade 4 curses. Except Todo, who runs an off-screen fade against 5 grade 1 cursed spirits and 1 special grade all on his own. Now here's a fun fact for you, but while the other Jujutsu students were busy fighting for their lives, Hikari is currently off-screen beating on the Jujutsu higher-ups instead, which is why he isn't actually in Season 1. The Jujutsu Sorcerer NPCs seem to be finding these grade 1 curses to be a bit much though, so the GOAT Nanami decides to tap in, and because it's Christmas it means he can start the fight in overtime. Nanami goes 4 for 4 on the black flashes, earning him the record for the most consecutive black flashes that won't be matched until Yuji's fight against Hanami in Season 1. What a GOAT! But that does mean it is finally time to reach the conclusion of Yuta Okkotsu versus Suguru Geto, because Geto has realized that he's a bum and that this Jujutsu newbie might actually not be fodder after all. So Geto combines all 4,000 cursed spirits left in his arsenal into one single high-density laser of cursed energy that Yuta can't possibly hope to compete with. But Yuta actually makes a binding vow to give his life to Rika in exchange for releasing the limit on their cursed energy, and after getting a little bit freaky off screen, which I still think is the weirdest moment in JJK, okay, second weirdest, Yuta then prepares to fire a gigantonormous love beam at Geto. The OST absolutely pops off, and both of them fire their beams at each other in my favorite animated scene in all of Jujutsu Kaisen to date. Absolute cinema. Yuta's boosted beam takes out all 4,000 spirits worth of cursed energy, and also takes Geto's whole ass arm off to boot, leaving him stumbling around Jujutsu High until his racist ex-boyfriend finally finds him. Geto returns Yuta's student ID to Gojo, and Gojo says the unknown magic words as his final goodbye
It's free real estate.
to his most treasured friend before he kills Geto with his own 2 hands. Honestly, Gojo and Geto's story is definitely one of the best parts of JJK, and this moment becomes even sadder when you watch it right after their flashback arc in Season 2. Gojo then returns to his students who are all waiting in anticipation as Yuta explains that he gave his soul to Rika in a binding vow. Instead of actually taking Yuta's life though, this vow finally broke the curse that Yuta had actually placed on Rika all those years ago, just as Yuta and Gojo suspected. Because after all, love is the most twisted curse of all. Rika's soul then departs in a beautiful scene that I definitely have never cried over, and Yuta returns to being a grade 4 Megami level sorcerer. Gojo then explains that Yuta is definitely the one who cursed Rika because, as it turns out, Yuta is actually a descendant of Sugawara no Michizane, one of the OG Six Eyes and Limitless wielders who became a vengeful spirit after death. And that also means Yuta is distantly related to Gojo himself. We skip forward a little bit to Gojo and Yuta walking in the snow, with Yuta in a black uniform now that Rika is gone. FYI, the white uniform signifies that Yuta was a problem child, but now that he's back to being a Megami level sorcerer with no Rika, that doesn't really apply. Gojo gives the student ID card to Yuta and tells him how the man he got it from, Geto, was his best and only friend, which is like, damn bro, we got it the first time, okay? I've had enough of crying now. The movie then ends, but there is an end credit scene which reveals that Yuta spent a year abroad in Africa training with Miguel. Apparently, Miguel agreed to train Yuta in exchange for Gojo sparing him. Miguel actually helps Yuta regain Rika's cursed spirit power even if her soul was gone, which is how he became special grade again and why he still has Rika in Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Gojo pulls up to greet them at the end of the scene, and the movie then officially comes to a close. Overall, Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is still my favorite animated piece of JJK content as of right now, and it gets a solid 9.5 out of 10 for me. Hopefully, you enjoyed this video and it refreshed your memory on Yuta, since he'll be a big part of JJK Season 3 moving forward, which is actually going to start releasing in January 2026. As always, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.